There are several actions organizations need to be aware of in order to maintain an effective employee handbook. It is critical that the information included within the employee handbook is accurate and in accordance with the current laws and regulations. The items to be aware of for maintaining a handbook consists of updating policies and procedures, consistent legal review, and employee acknowledgement annually. The organization needs to continually update the handbook based on any changes to existing policies and procedures or to add any newly created policies and procedures. Typically, the organization will have one person who is responsible for policy changes within compliance or human resources. Smaller organizations may still have someone who is directly connected to the management of the company's policies and procedures. The organization should always stay updated on current legislation, including new laws and changes to existing laws. Federal and state legislation can change at any time to impact the policies and procedures listed within the organization's employee handbook. Organizations should always keep track of any regulation change within the Department of Labor and the agencies which operate within the Department of Labor. One example with regulation change was the Department of Labor's decision to increase the minimum salary threshold for exemption classification. Several weeks after deciding to increase the minimum threshold, a federal judge in Texas delayed the federal overtime rule. This is a great example around the importance of organizations staying abreast of laws and regulations that cover employers. As a business owner or HR professional, it is critical to be in tune with how regulation changes will impact the organization's policies and the organization's employee handbook. It is a good practice to have an organization's employee handbook reviewed and approved annually by external legal counsel. There are frequent adjustments to internal policy and procedures, as well as external laws and regulations that may impact the information within the handbook. The act of having legal counsel review and approval of the handbook ensures the contents are accurate and do not lead the employer into any contractual agreement. Many organizations choose to have their employees acknowledge the handbook annually. This is a recommended practice as information within the handbook will change periodically, and it is important to ensure employees acknowledge the most current information and policies. If organizations do not have their employees acknowledge the handbook annually, they may be at risk of employees understanding outdated policies and procedures. Acknowledging the handbook annually allows for the organization to track the review and signature of each employee to mitigate risk for the employer.